Welcome to Kingdom Vibes TV, where faith comes alive through stories that inspire, heal, and awaken something eternal in us. Here, we share powerful moments, true or inspired, that prove God still speaks, still moves, and still answers. So wherever you're watching from, take a breath. Set your heart to listen, because this story may just be the one you needed today. Today's episode is titled, The Taxi Driver's Secret Prayer. A deeply moving tale about a man who had nothing left to give, except one last whisper to heaven. And what happened next will restore your faith in the God who sees. Michael wasn't the type to complain. He was dependable, quiet, the kind of man who showed up every single day. For years, he drove a battered taxi, faithfully ferrying people from place to place in hopes of earning enough to keep his family afloat. He lived in a modest apartment with his wife and 2 children. His youngest still giggled in his arms. His oldest had been sick for months. Doctors had given hopeful reports, but the bills just kept coming. Every morning, Michael was up before sunrise. He skipped breakfast more often than not, choosing instead to fill his gas tank just enough to get through the day. He worked from dawn till well after dark, chasing fares, sitting through traffic, waiting long stretches for passengers who never came. Yet the harder he worked, the deeper the hole seemed to get. Unpaid rent, overdue school fees. His wife does her best to stretch every coin. And still, it wasn't enough. Michael was running on fumes, physically, financially, and spiritually. Michael used to be passionate about his faith. He once led prayer meetings. He had a worn-out Bible with underlined verses and scribbled notes from past sermons. But life had worn him down. And over time, the fire became routine. His prayers became quiet, more like check-ins than conversations. He still played worship music in his car, still gave his children bedtime blessings. But inside, his faith had become a distant echo. Then came a night that pushed him past the edge. He had driven nearly 14 hours. Only 5 passengers. Barely enough to cover fuel. On his way home, he pulled over near an empty lot. The streets were silent. His headlights dim. He rested his head against the steering wheel. And with eyes shut tight, he whispered, God, I don't need a big miracle. I just need to know you're still there. Just show me something. Please. No thunder. No vision. Only the low hum of the engine. And the ache of a man who felt invisible. A few days later, Michael was driving his last shift. Business had been unusually slow. He hadn't eaten all day. The car's fuel gauge blinked red. He decided, one more ride. If no one shows up in 5 minutes, I'm going home. Just as he reached for the keys to switch off the engine. Tap, tap. A soft knock on the passenger side window. He looked up to see a man, mid-40s, simple clothes, calm eyes. He wasn't frantic or in a hurry. Just peaceful. Please, can you take me to the hospital? The man asked gently. Michael hesitated. The hospital was far. His fuel wouldn't make it. He should have said no. But something about the man's presence made him pause. There was no desperation, just calm, like he already knew the answer. Michael took a breath. Get in, he said. The first few minutes were quiet. Michael focused on the road. his thoughts racing. How far can I go on this fuel? Will I make it home? Should I have taken this trip? Who even is this man? Then, out of nowhere, the passenger spoke. You've been praying for help, haven't you? Michael froze. His eyes darted to the rearview mirror. What did you say? He asked, confused. That night in your car, you asked God if he still sees you. You told him you just needed a sign. Michael's heart thudded. How could this man know that? He hadn't even told his wife what he prayed. The man continued, his voice calm but certain. God heard you. That whisper was enough. Help is already on the way. Michael's eyes welled up. Tears blurred his vision as he pulled the car to the side of the road. The weight he had carried, the loneliness, the fear, the silence. It all cracked open. He turned to face the man. Who are you? He asked, voice trembling. The man didn't answer directly. He simply smiled and said, You are not forgotten. Your child will be well. And everything you lost in faith will return multiplied. Michael sat in silence, tears running freely. He didn't care about the time, or the fuel, or even where he was. Something sacred was happening. God had found him in his taxi cab. They reached the hospital. Michael turned to say thank you. But the man had already opened the door. You don't owe me anything, he said. Just remember, God still answers prayers. Even the quiet ones. He walked toward the entrance. Michael stepped out moments later. But the man was gone. No one at the hospital entrance saw him arrive. Security hadn't noticed anyone walk in. It was as if he had vanished. Michael stood still, overwhelmed. Was it an angel? A messenger? All he knew was, God had heard. And he had answered. The next day, the unexpected happened. The hospital called. Michael's son had improved dramatically overnight. A private donor had paid the balance for his treatment, completely anonymous. That same week, Michael received an offer to drive for a premium ride service, better hours, more pay, and benefits. The fog that had hung over his family began to lift. Not instantly. Not magically. But gradually, just enough light to see that God was clearing the path. Michael never saw that mysterious passenger again. But he didn't need to. Because that night, something in him changed. Hope had returned. And with it, faith. Friend, maybe you've been like Michael. Driving through life, giving your all, and wondering if heaven still hears. Maybe you've whispered prayers no one else knows about. Maybe you've asked for a sign, but only silence followed. Let this story remind you. God hears even your quietest cry. He may not shout, but he will show up. Sometimes in the form of a stranger. Sometimes in the peace that follows your breaking point. But always, right on time. If this story touched something deep in you, drop a comment and write, God, I still believe. Like this video. Share it with someone who's losing hope. And subscribe to Kingdom Vibes TV for more stories that stir your spirit and remind you. You are seen. You are loved. And you are never alone. Until next time, keep the faith. Even in the silence, God is still speaking.